Hey, folks, it's time for the quote of the day. And today's quote is going to come to you after weeks of me anticipating this. And really, honestly, I have spent hours going over all of the different quotes. I have quoted this man, I think, 3 or 4 times. And I decided that I'm not going to try to look for something new to give you guys. I'm actually going to revisit some quotes that he's given us. Really, one in particular. I'm going to give another one to give context, but today is a legend. He's a legend. He's absolutely a legend. One of the most accomplished writers in the history of the world. Honestly, like there's really no other way of looking at it. Today is Isaac Asimov's birthday, and there was never going to be anybody else that today was going to be because I know his birthday. I knew his birthday. If you don't know who Isaac Asimov is, please do some reading, do some look into it. Like I promise you, you've seen something in your life that he has touched. As a matter of fact, I know that parts of what you experience on a day to day life come from things that he's touched. His science fiction writing and just in general writing. I mean, the man wrote books about every fucking thing. Anytime he had like an interest, he'd write a book about it. And that's not an exaggeration. He wrote over 500 books in his life. He wrote 90,000 or some shit like that, letters and postcards and shit like that. The dude was writing all the time. He even said at one point in time that writing to him was like breathing. If he stopped, he would die. And he really did believe that. And so he really is one of the most prolific authors, writers, whatever you want to call him, of all time. And most people, my age especially, have read Foundation. You've read the Robot series. You've read. I mean, some people have even read. I can't remember the name of it right now. The story that Bicentennial Man is based off of. The movie Bicentennial Man is based off of Isaac Asimov's story. Um, Most people have read something of his, especially if you're my age. The Foundation series is was at one point in time considered the greatest series ever written. That's not a joke. I think it was like 1966 or 1961 or in that area. It was given awards for being the greatest series ever written. And so I know that most of us have read something of his. If at the very least, you've seen the not iRobot version of iRobot, the Will Smith one. You've probably seen that at the very least. It was a relatively popular movie. There's been just hit everything about him, everything about his mind has found a way into popular culture at some level, or has found a way into your hand. There are apps that were created. There are ways of using your phone that were created because Isaac Asimov wrote about them. Like this man was a futurist. Like he saw things coming. He understood the importance of technology and space travel. He believed in space travel. Now, I'm going to use, like I said, I'm going to use two quotes, but I'm not going to. Only one of them is technically going to be the quote of the day. Both of them I have talked about in the past, but I want to give you a framing for today's quote of the day by quoting him in one of his other quotes because he really does. He has a very strong opinion on this. And this quote in particular is one that I've used, I've talked about, I've repeated it over and over again, and I want people to understand it. Isaac Asimov once wrote, "There is a cult of ignorance in the United States, and there always has been. The strain of anti intellectualism has been a constant thread winding its way through our political and cultural life, nurtured by the false notion that democracy means that my ignorance is just as good as your knowledge." Now, this is a very important quote, and like I said, it speaks very strongly to the actual quote of the day, and I think that it's important that people understand it because you can't really deny it. I know that people want to say no, this is this is just us right now, this is just us, but no, it really has. America has always been one of the dumbest fucking countries on the planet. We have always had this strain because maybe it harkens back to our pilgrim ways of thinking where everything had to be based in some sort of religion and everything had to be based in belief and everything was about feeling and everything was about like especially today you see it all over. You see it in really fucking social media. You see people that just cannot handle reality, so they all fly to magical things and thinking, And this is anti-intellectualism. That is the definition of it. I know that many people are going to be like, well, my belief in astrology has nothing to do with being anti-intellectual. It's a science too. It's not a science. No, it's not. It's not. Astronomy is a science. Astrology is just people basically saying, yeah, it's star signs, yay. And look, I'm not trying to attack that. It's just by itself that all of this way of thinking, it comes from a desire to not actually rationalize, not actually say things like, I don't know. We have to come up with meaning. We have to come up with this. It's difficult for people to sit in the discomfort of, I don't know. A rational, scientific, like logical mind has no problem with I don't know. I don't know is exciting. I don't know means there's areas to explore into. There's things that we can learn about. That I don't know is one of the greatest things you can say, because it gives you purpose. It gives you meaning. I don't know. It gives you something to go after. But we often do, and they call it often the God in the gaps. We fill in gaps of our lack of understanding with mysticism and spiritualism and all this stuff. And this is exactly what he's talking about. And America has always been the forerunner, the leader, the world's leader in bullshit. We have always been that way. We always will be that way. And honestly, it's kind of sad. But right now, talking about right now in America, we're at an all-time low. I mean, just simply an all-time low. We have anti-intellectualism coming out of the right, the Republicans, to the point where they're actually vilifying knowledge. They're actively trying to suppress information and knowledge. That is also it's fascism, but it's also anti-intellectualism. They understand that if you are informed, that if you have knowledge, that you are a threat. They know that. And so they're trying to subdue it. And the problem is that the answer on the left is, well, let's have a prayer circle. Let's talk about it with our therapists. Let's do all these things that really don't address any of the actual issues. They're not realistic problems for macro issues. They're individual things. And the left tends to dive into individual pursuits and their own feelings and their own magical thinking and their own they refuse to actually address things in a realistic, pragmatic way. And so we have this basic pushing of a military machine, a well-oiled machine, might I add, just pushing people that want to be kind of touchy-feely out of the way. And we've seen this before in history. This isn't a new thing. It's not like we don't have any sort of reference for this. We know it's happening. And so today's quote of the day speaks directly to that. And I've used this quote before, and I'm unfortunately going to have to use it again. Isaac Asimov once said, "When stupidity is considered patriotism, it is unsafe to be intelligent." Now, we're going to see. We're going to find out. We are going to find out. We're going to find out firsthand. Because I consider myself not to be a genius or anything like that, but I am relatively intelligent, especially compared to the average person. So I'm going to find out exactly how unsafe it is. I have no doubt that I'm on a list somewhere. I mean, look at me. I mean, most of you would put me on a list somewhere just based upon the way that I look. And so you combine that with revolutionary, radical thinking, far left possibly, and even liberal thinking. I'm a recipe for disaster as far as the people on the right are concerned. And so I have to recognize that, because Isaac Asimov is 100% correct on this. He is 100% accurate. It is dangerous right now to be an intellectual, because stupidity is considered patriotism. The dumber you are, the more patriotic you are, the more you love your country. You don't have to know anything. You just have to say America. And that's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter if you say, hey, we could do this better, or hey, maybe we shouldn't, deport US citizens to El Salvador. Maybe we shouldn't do certain things that we're doing because that's not really good for America. And people will just go, yeah, you don't love America then, do you? I mean, that's where we're at. And so I just wanted to say this quote is as accurate as it's ever been right now at this point in time. And the only thing you can do is decide whether or not you're going to lay down and be an idiot or actually stand up for intellectualism. Happy birthday, Isaac Asimov. The rest of you, take care of yourself, take care of others. I'll talk to you soon.